Women form 49% of the electorate in these elections. They're clearly going to be a force to reckon with. Women's empowerment has become quite the new political buzzword. But are our politicians still just paying lip service to women's concerns with no real actual commitment to gender equality? Well, a number of women's organizations have come together asking parties to endorse a 6-point call for action. They believe it's high time to demand some accountability from our leaders.
At a time when women's issues are finding space in the political discourse, Mulayam Singh Yadav's comments couldn't have been more out of sync with public opinion. In fact, a recent survey of voters conducted by MDRA and Awaz showed that this election, 91% see violence against women as a priority in the upcoming polls, second only to corruption. 94% are in favour of the new Indian government pursuing a public education campaign to tackle the causes of violence against women. 99% of Indians are concerned about the level of violence faced by women here, and more than 1 in 2 women in India feels unsafe. The outpouring of anger on the streets of Delhi after the December 16 gang rape case was a watershed moment that not only forced a change in law but also saw women's issues coming to the forefront of the political discussion. That's why this Women's Day, women's organizations came together asking political parties to endorse their 6-point call for action. Calling it the WU Manifesto, it includes demands like 33% women's reservation in Parliament, public education programs, legal and social rehabilitation of victims, and dignified and remunerative employment of women.
Fundamentally, I think what we're doing through the Women Manifesto and the work that we do on women's rights and awareness is essentially asking for not benefits, but the translation of rights under the Constitution. We talk about the fact that governance and the infrastructure that is meant to serve communities and women in particular deliver on the stated goals, deliver with the due diligence that is required in the implementation of such programs, and not be tokenistic in nature.
Party manifestos also show that women's issues are part of the electoral plan. Parties like the Congress, BJP, the Aam Aadmi Party all say women's safety and empowerment is their priority. The Congress lists as its achievements the new anti-rape law, as it promises to set up fast-track courts for speedy justice, as does the Aam Aadmi Party. Both AAP and Congress have also promised a one-stop crisis centre for women and fast-track courts. While BJP promises strict implementation of rape laws, calling women the nation builder, for the BJP, saving the girl child and gender equality and education are also priority, reflected in other parties' manifestos as well.
A lot of points in our manifesto to ensure that there is greater safety for women.
But here's the catch. A majority of parties have supported 33% women's reservation, yet it's been a work in progress for 2 decades. Are political parties really serious about empowering women, or is it mere lip service to appease 49% of the voting population? In New Delhi with Sunil Prabhu, Ketki Angre for NDTV.
Now, Karna Nandi, you're in fact co-founder in a sense of this Women Manifesto. You're representing the civil society groups who've drafted this charter. Now, where do you think it's important to put pressure on political parties? Is it in including more issues such as this in their manifestos, or is it on delivering on promises already made?
I think the first step is the commitment. And the Aam Aadmi Party was an early adopter. They came out very strongly right in the beginning. Also, they were asked fairly early, to be fair. And they said that we fully commit, and the entire thing is pretty much in their manifesto. Now, Shobha Oza ji is now telling me that, and we had a meeting, a long meeting, where they were extremely positive, the Congress, and they have said that there were some points already, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there were some points already in their gender sub-manifesto and in their main manifesto. The remaining points have been included in their gender sub-manifesto. Now, the thing is that we still see the Samajwadi Party, right? And we have Samajwadi Party's leaders, main leaders, making statements that actually are reflected very much in their manifestos, you know. We also see conversations with the BJP are ongoing. At the moment, their manifesto on page 23 speaks of some points concerning women, but it's just not sufficient. Now, we have these various posters of leaders of the BJP and of other parties saying that we are going to do something to end violence against women. What are the concrete steps? We have seen these numbers, we have seen voters coming out. What are the concrete steps that are being taken to actually make a difference? Is it just ad hoc? Is it 1 point here and 1 point there, unlike the economy?
All right.
Or has it been
point.
thought
Now,
through?
you seem to suggest that at least as far as commitments go, both the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress seem to be on board and recognizing your charter of demands. But at the end of the day, when you
But we think
talk
it's
about,
important for the BJP to come on board as well.
Absolutely. But when you talk about key poll promises that have already been made in previous manifestos, whether it's something like reservation for women in central government jobs, reservation for women in Lok Sabha and assemblies. Now, that's something that parties have been promising for the last 15 years. And at the end of the day, we don't even see that kind of representation in your candidates for these elections, let alone in state assemblies or the Lok Sabha. So, you know, when women are voting, when people are actually exercising their franchise, what is it that they are looking at to believe in your promises for the future? Shobha.
As far as women's reservation bill is concerned, this was Rajiv Ji's dream, which we got passed in the local bodies. We have given 50% reservation, not even 30%, 33%. It was increased to 50%, and local bodies have 50% reservation for women in our country, which no other country has. As far as Assembly and Lok Sabhas are concerned, we did promise and we are committed to it. But since it was a UPA government, it was a coalition government, but where we had numbers.
It's one thing to talk about.
No.
It's
we
one
are
thing to talk
committed.
about
We are the
commitments,
only
but when your coalitions include the Samajwadi Party, include the RJD.
That's what I am telling you. That we are totally committed to, Congress party is totally committed to it. And we had the numbers in the Rajya Sabha. So we could get it passed despite the fact that other political parties were opposing it, were asking reservation, within reservation, we could pass it. But as far as
it's always very convenient to hide behind the coalition argument. But I want to put this to you. Both you and the Aam Aadmi Party have committed to the Woman Manifesto. How many of your candidates in these elections are women? According to the statistics available to me, the Congress has 12% of women candidates.
13.1.
All right, 13.1. Yes, that's a very big difference. The Aam Aadmi Party, would I be correct in saying that's about 12% also of the number of candidates you have?
I think it's gone up to 14 with the new list included.
At the end of the day, those numbers are very far away from even the 33%, let alone the 50%.
Yes, and I accept that it should have been much higher.
Without reservation,
and we really need to work on that.
It is not possible for any party to give 33% without reservation. That's what we are fighting for, the reservation. That's what our commitment for reservation bill to be passed. But in the Lok Sabha,
but you're saying reservation is something that is not happening because of what other political parties and their stance. If you are so committed, at least in your manifesto and in your party, why not begin at home?
No, see, without reservation, no party can give 33% of candidates in the elections because winnability is a major issue. And muscle power, money power plays a major role in elections. And as far as any party is concerned, their first concern would be winnability.
But I need to make this point. Please let me make this point. I'm dying to. When it comes to winnability, how come when Mulayam Singh Yadav's daughter-in-law, Dimple, has to be given a ticket, there's no winnability question. When Sunil Dutt's daughter, Priya Dutt, has to be fielded, there is no question of winnability. When it comes to Supriya Sule, Sharad Pawar's daughter, or Agatha Sangma, Shreya Sangma's daughter, or Poonam Mahajan,
so do you see this as a problem? That, you know, women's representation is...
And they will
do you see women's representation as largely tokenism among all political parties? And do you see this as a problem?
Yes, of course it's a problem. And I see, you know, there's a way in which I see what they are saying. Both of them are saying that, yes, this is a challenge. And we also saw Sushma Swaraj and Sonia Gandhi and Brinda Karat holding hands across party lines to try and get this bill in. What I would like to hear is how, in this very patriarchal parliament that has people like Mulayam Singh Yadav, is this bill going to be passed? Yes, various parties have committed to it. Secondly, also, and I'm a little disappointed not to hear this from you know, both of the representatives who are, you know, committed to women's rights in various different ways. But the manifesto that they have committed to actually includes the how. It says very clearly that these are the laws that need to be implemented. How do you do it? You break it down. Each ministry sits down, breaks down what it takes. Does it take more chairs, tables, personnel? Does it take more women? Does the police have to recruit based on gender metrics? How much money will it take? Will they allocate it?
These are the commitments, my dear friend. We have in our manifesto, and we have done a major exercise as far as manifesto is concerned. We had gone in the length and breadth of the country and got women from all sections to contribute to our manifesto, with Mr. Rahul Gandhi had attended himself, whether at Bhopal or the Anganwadi Karyakarta in UP or
Shobhaji,
Asha Karyakarta.
there are some very important points in your manifesto.
Before your manifesto came up, most of these issues have been addressed in the Congress manifesto, and one or two issues which were not there, we have included from your manifesto. But that goes to say that Congress is committed to women's empowerment, whether it be political, social or economical empowerment.
I'm very pleased to hear that any gaps that were there have been filled by the Women Manifesto. The question is also that let's think through how these things can be implemented.
Right. Deliverability, I think, is going to be absolutely the most important thing, because promises we keep hearing, commitments, assurances.
But I think let's recognize, but you know, Ankita, I would like to say that let's recognize the fact that these commitments have been made. You know, the Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress has made these commitments through these 6 points, right? The CPIML has made the commitment. The BJD, you know, there are some leaders.
It's certainly the first step, and I'm glad that you think of it as a positive first step.
But I would like to make one point. I would like to make one point.
Yes, very quickly, because I'm completely
out of class. One point is this, is that the goal was that this be a common minimum program across parties, right? So that parties like the Samajwadi Party can be isolated by the rest. So that, you know, so each party can be held to account by the others. That you know,
okay, a common minimum program, and every election brings with it a promise of change.
I think all party meetings, can't there be an all party meeting on this issue?
I would like all of you to go to our last manifesto.
I think there's going to be an all-party resolution bill, and look at where that stayed. But I think women certainly need to vote into power those who will ensure real empowerment and participation.
All of you to go through our last manifesto and
see what we promised. Shobha Ojha, Karuna Nandi, Shazia Ilmi, thank you so much for joining us on this discussion. That's it then on Left, Right and Centre. Do stay tuned for the buck stops here. That's up next.